Our Nation Sports Show. Tonight on the Nation Sports Show, we break down a wild Week 13 in the National Football League. From all of us here on the Sports Show, we hope that you all had a happy Thanksgiving. One of the teams that did not have a happy Thanksgiving was the Chicago Bears. At their questionable four-quarter clock management in the final minutes of regulation against the Lions, for the first time in their franchise's history, Chicago has fired their head coach during the middle of the regular season. Matt Eberflus has been shown the door. Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, will take over as interim head coach for Chicago. Tonight, we also bring to you our Week 14 prediction battles, plus the latest breaking news in the NFL, the NBA, and more. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
What is going on, everybody? It's 7 o'clock across the East Coast and worldwide. You know what that means. It is another edition of our Nation Sports Show here on the World Wide Web on YouTube.com. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our Nation Sports Show live, like I said, here on YouTube. I am the lead captain chair for tonight. I am your host, Stephen Wyand. And before I get to my esteemed co-host for this evening right now, it is the dynamic duo on the... Oh, and you dropped just like the Cowboys offense. Anyways, that's the one thing about live... about the live doing this stuff on the fly, man. You know, when you're live, you're live. You got to do it, grip it and rip it. You know what I'm saying? But before we get to the world of sports here tonight, got to plug the social media platforms up first on Twitter at @ON_sports show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where right now I am solo riding in the captain chair, waiting for Joey to rejoin again. We are live here on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff when it comes to finding our YouTube content. And also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook.com/Nation's Corner, and where they are live on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner, where the guys and gal recap all things professional wrestling. And what a hell of a night last night for WWE, because Monday Night Raw was wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, finally, after having some technical difficulties, because why wouldn't it happen any other ways, because we're live right now, joining me right now, better late than never. Unlike LeBron, he does show up on time, and he doesn't leave and when there's 6 minutes left to go in the show, unless he has to. JT, Joey Thornton, what's going on, man? You there, Joey? Can you hear me, Joey? I guess Joey is having issues with his... either his laptop, his microphone, his connection.
That would be it would be my connection. It decides it wants to act a little stupid right now. So bear with me.
It's okay. It is okay. But anyways, folks, we are live here tonight for another edition of our Nation Sports Show. Thank you for joining us here tonight. And I do want to touch upon before we get to all of the games from this past week, the news that came down actually a couple of days ago, and
Hang
that
on, I'll be
was
back.
okie dokie. The Texans linebacker Z Shahir has been fined and or has been suspended for the next 3 games for the Texans after a violent, vicious hit on Trevor Lawrence, the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And listen, I mean, I understand that there are people out there that said, look, if you crossed over that line of scrimmage and you put yourself in harm's way, you're a live runner. I get that, but at the same time, this was a violent hit. He was already going down to the ground, and Shahir should have not hit him. He was already going down to the turf to slide. Do not hit him like that. I'm sorry. And I know Kevin's going to come on here and Kevin's going to have a differing opinion, but that's okay. I'm sorry. If the guy is going down, you need to not hit him like that. And I did read Kevin's comment on post on Facebook, and he does make a valuable point. You don't want to cross when you cross that line of scrimmage, and you're running like a running back or a wide receiver or a tight end. You're putting yourself in that danger, and I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, if he is going down to the ground, giving himself up and sliding to the turf, do not hit people like that. I'm sorry. And I know there was a brawl during the game, and I do not blame the Jaguars players coming into Lawrence's aid. So again, if you're living under a rock, which I hope none of you are when it comes to this story, it just broke a couple days ago that Z Shahir has been suspended for the next 3 games. Obviously, he plays with the Texans. Before we get to all of the games that took place this past weekend, want to say on behalf of all of us here on the sports show, from myself, Ezra, Joey, and Kevin, Hijacker, and everybody else out there, we hope that you all had a happy Thanksgiving with your family and your friends. But there is one team that did not have a happy Thanksgiving: the Chicago Bears. Chicago had one of the worst clock management in any game in the NFL. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things in this game, Chicago was down by a field goal. They got back in this game. Let's be honest. Detroit should have been up more than what they were at the half. They should have been up 16-0. They should have been up at least 35-0. If it wasn't for a fumble, if it wasn't for a couple of the field goals, converted those to touchdowns. The fumble doesn't happen in the red zone. That's easily could have been 35-0 at the half. And Chicago, to their credit, Caleb Williams and company climbed back in this game. And Williams was making plays, and along with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, had a couple of touchdowns in this game. DeAndre Swift had some good carries in this game. That Chicago got to give them credit. They gave it their all. They fought back in the game. But the big thing to me with this game was the Lions were, they were flirting with disaster, and the Lions got lucky. They got lucky that they won this game. And also during this game, while the Bears were after the Lions gave the ball back to Chicago, Chicago had a golden opportunity in front of them to steal this game.
And as the game kept progressing later on in the fourth quarter, the Lions were making plays on the defensive end of the ball, and Chicago was making mistakes as well. And then on fourth down, after a couple of very interesting penalties that were called on Chicago, Williams throws a pass down towards the Lions' 21-yard line, and the Lions got called for defensive pass interference that moved the ball up to the Lions, like I said, 21-yard line. And in that span of a sequence, Chicago was in a scoring position to steal this game, on Thanksgiving, like the Packers did a year ago. And Lions fans, I know, were thinking, oh, here we go again. Deja vu all over again. We can't win a game on Thanksgiving. And Chicago had a play where Williams threw the ball, I believe it was to Keenan Allen, got down to the Detroit 15-yard line, and then that's when Chicago was called on a penalty that pushed him back 10-plus yards. And that right there set up the wonkiness. Because on the next possession, I believe Williams threw it incomplete, and then on second down, he got sacked and pushed him back towards around the 40-yard line. And they were basically out of field goal range. So they had a shot to tie the game. And then, here's also the stupidest thing about this game. Chicago had 2 timeouts in the fourth quarter. 2 freaking timeouts. Detroit had 1. The Lions already had to use 2 of their timeouts in the second half. So you're Chicago. Your quarterback just got sacked. He ate the ball. And then, on third and long, after getting sacked, what they should have done, Eberflus should have called a timeout to stop the clock running. Should have called a timeout to stop the clock from running down. Tick, 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 as Chris Berman would say. As Boomer would say. Tick, 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 tick. Clock just kept ticking, 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 ticking. Time just kept going off the clock. They weren't calling any of the timeouts. And then Williams gets up, takes the snap. At about 7 seconds or so, that's when he got the snap. And just flung the ball deep. And it was incomplete. And the game was over. And you didn't get the fourth down. You let that much time go off the clock. You had your own Bears teammates. You had Detroit players and coaches just sitting there, going, what the hell was that? It was crazy. Just unreal how this even happened. And Matt Eberflus said in his press conference that, oh, I saw nothing wrong with what we did in that fourth quarter with the time running down. You idiot! You had 2 freaking timeouts in your back pocket. And you didn't call your timeout with about 30 some odd seconds to go in the fourth quarter? Joey is back. Just real quick to bring it, I was talking about the Chicago-Detroit game.
Okay, yeah, let's try this again. Hopefully my tech issues have been resolved.
Hopefully. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday. I had a nice little Taco Tuesday because I had me some Mexican. Hey.
Nice.
But yeah, fourth quarter between the Bears and the Lions was absolutely putrid if you are a Chicago fan, because rumors are Matt Eberflus is still waiting on the sidelines at Ford Field, waiting to call that timeout that's never gonna come.
I mean, come on. You had 2 timeouts in their back pocket. And like I said, Chris Berman would say, tick, 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 tick. That clock just kept ticking. It just kept ticking. And it boggles my mind how Matt Eberflus made a complete jackass out of himself. I mean, just the awful play calling in that fourth quarter was so bad, so bad. And he said at the end in the press conference that he had no problems with how he ran that 2 minute drill. And I was just talking about this too before you rejoined again. You had Chicago players and coaches, and there he goes again. Ooh, what a bad day at the office for Joey's connection. Oof. Just it is just so stupid. Oh, there he goes.
Lord, I don't know what is going on with my stupid internet tonight.
But no, but like, what were your thoughts? With like the way he handled himself in that press conference, because he had Chicago players and you had Detroit players and coaches alike on both sides that were confused as hell. They were wondering what is going on. Like, why did you not use the timeouts? I mean, it was dumb. Dumb clock management.
Absolutely. I mean, I get it. I mean, even though I have never been a coach, I've never been a head coach of an organization or a major pro organization, and I probably never will be. But hey, I'm okay with that. But I understand how difficult it can be to be a head coach sometimes, because we've seen coaches struggle in the past several years, and Eberflus has now been added to the list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happened. I mean, it happens to everybody at some point. I mean, I get it. I mean, I get it. Coaches go under a lot of stress, but when you constantly have success year in and year out,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you hit that roadblock, it all of a sudden just becomes, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? A lost cause.
Yes.
I mean, take Bill Belichick for example.
Mm-hmm.
For 20 years or so, he was the coach of a very successful New England Patriots organization, because
Absolutely.
he had a goat of a quarterback named Tom Brady. And yes, Randy, I called him the GOAT because
Face it.
because that's what everybody calls him. Which, by the way, he's also part owner of your Las Vegas Raiders. So
Deal with that.
Anyway, but as soon as Brady left, Belichick struggled. I mean, he could not have a winning season to save his life, even if he found his so-called replacement at the time, Mac Jones, who is now down in Jacksonville, more than likely starting this week. But of course, we'll get to that whenever we get to the game highlights, or more game highlights. But yeah, coaches go through a lot of stress sometimes, because you got players who all of a sudden just leave. You get players who go through, I guess you could say, the big head moment, when they have such big of a head, they think they deserve their own ego. I mean, we see it happen all the time. And Eberflus, I mean, there's not really much I can say about him other than the fact that if you have timeouts, use them. It don't matter if you have a few seconds left in the game or a few minutes left in the game. If it is a close game, use any timeouts that you have at your disposal, because I'm willing to guarantee to everybody out there that is watching right now, if Eberflus would have used that timeout, they could have drawn up a play perfect enough to either get them a first down or get them closer to field goal range, to where their kicker could attempt a field goal to try to send the game into overtime. But no, Eberflus decides, you know what? I have enough faith in Caleb Williams. I don't really have much faith with the special teams, so you know what? We're just gonna sling it and hope for the best.
It's so stupid because like when you look at the after the sack happened, a normal coach under that has his faculties would have called a timeout to save as much time as possible.
Oh, big
Because
time. If it was Dan Campbell, he would have called a timeout. If it was Mike Tomlin, he would have called a timeout. And yes, I know Kevin has dumped on Kyle
Nick
Shanahan
Sirianni
on numerous occasions, but if it was Kyle Shanahan, he called a timeout.
and Nick Sirianni.
If it was Dan Quinn, or I kind of hate to say it, Mike McCarthy, he would call a timeout.
Yes.
But Eberflus, it's almost like he didn't even want to win that game.
It's almost like he was tanking.
Exactly.
It is mind-boggling how this boneheaded decision by Matt has cost him his job.
Exactly. And here's a little trivia nugget because I happened to see this the other day on Facebook. The Chicago Bears have been a franchise since 1929. So you got to think that is 85 years if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Yeah. And now Eberflus becomes the first head coach in Chicago Bears history to be replaced as head coach or fired before the season is over.
That has never happened in their franchise history. And
That
that
has
right,
never happened before, and now that has happened with Eberflus. So now he joins a list of one, and it's probably going to be a list of one for a good while. So, I don't wish bad on Eberflus. I don't wish bad on anybody because, like I said, coaches struggle from time to time. But Eberflus, it's just almost like he didn't even want to try to win that game. He knew he had that timeout, but he didn't use it. And now he's sitting on his couch waiting for another NFL team to give him a call. Which honestly,
I don't think it's
know-
going to happen. I don't
know
think
if
it's going to
ever
happen.
come. If it does, it will not be for a head coach. I would say maybe an offensive or defensive coordinator, maybe even another coaching position, but it's not going to be for a head coach.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, is going to be the head coach, the interim head coach for the rest of the season.
Yep.
See what happens, who they'll be having as their next head coach at the start of the 25-26 season next year.
They've
And also,
already been looking at some high-profile names, including of course, their interim head coach right now, Thomas Brown, as well as Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, and they've been and they've been looking at some other names too.
Man, if you're Kingsbury, you don't want to ruin that because he ruined the Cardinals. It took them firing him for the Cardinals to get finally kind of back on track.
Yeah.
But also before you dropped, I was talking about how the Texans have suspended Z Shahir after his violent, vicious hit against Trevor Lawrence on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Like I said in the chat the other day, whenever that horrendous hit took place, you got to look at it from two different point of views. The first point of view is from Trevor Lawrence. Yes, I get it. You were trying to scramble for a first down, but you gotta make sure you slide properly to where, if you go head first, that's gonna lessen the impact that you try to put in. And I get it. If you're nowhere close to the end zone, still try to slide head first because that'll prevent a concussion or that'll prevent whatever is going on. up inside the mindset of a quarterback. I mean, we see it happen. We've seen quarterbacks do it all the time, and they get concussions because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to look at it from Aziz Shahir's point of view, because I mean, I've watched that play time and time and time and time again, and everybody was saying, or everybody is saying, that Shahir tried to do everything he could to prevent the hit from happening. But the more and more and more I kept watching the play, I don't believe that for a second. Because Shahir, he knew he was sliding.
Exactly.
He knew Trevor Lawrence was sliding. And if you look real close, you can see that all Shahir had to do for Lawrence was literally put a finger on him on the torso, and that would have been just fine for a tackle. But no, he decides to lower his helmet, which, granted, since Trevor Lawrence was already sliding, lowering his helmet is not an illegal move at that time. It's only if the quarterback, or it's only if the player is standing upright. But if you're sliding, it's okay. But yeah, Shahir knew that Trevor Lawrence was sliding, but that's still, I mean, Shahir trying to do what he could to stop the hit from happening? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. I mean, he knew that he was going to lower his helmet. He knew he was going to lower his helmet and bang Trevor Lawrence up in the noggin. And that's why he got penalized for it, and that's why he got a 3-game suspension.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those kind of hits can damage a quarterback's career. Those kind of hits can damage anybody's NFL career.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
And I mean, we have seen some dirty players in this game in years past, ranging from, of course, Aziz Shahir to Ndamukong Suh to Vontaze Burfict. I mean, we've seen our share of dirty players in this game who do these dirty things, who make these dirty hits or do these dirty tactics to try to injure a player or just try to make your presence known. But by knocking out a scrambling quarterback who was already sliding, no, you don't do that mess. And I get it. He has now since apologized to Trevor Lawrence for that hit and the Jaguars organization as well as the Texans organization, but still, I mean, what's done is done. You got suspended, so deal with it.
Yeah, agree. Moving on down the schedule from this past week on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys, yay! For the Cowboys fans in Dallas, you got your first home win of the season, yay! Cowboys beat the pathetic Giants 27-20. I mean, this game, don't let that score fool you. This game was boring. Boring. If anybody fell asleep during this game, I don't blame you. If that turkey coma hit you, hey, I don't blame you.
Yep, all I have to say about that game is yawn.
Green Bay destroyed the Dolphins at home in the snow, in the bad weather up there, but not as bad as Buffalo. And oh, we'll get to that one. Green Bay.
And did I call it or what?
Tua
always struggles in cold weather environments. Mm-hmm. He cannot play his best football in cold weather.
Yep, Jordan Love and company look really good.
It came to fruition.
Yep, Green Bay, led by Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs and company, beat 2-1 the Dolphins 30-17 in frigid Green Bay. On Black Friday, yes again, by the skin of their teeth, the Chiefs survive again. They beat the Raiders 19-17 in one of the weirdest games played this season. I was sitting here listening to this game on Westwood One, and when that snap went over O'Connell's head, I'm just sitting here going, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, just, of course the Chiefs find the weirdest of ways to win.
You know, I just got one thing to say. The Chiefs are 11-1 right now, but 5 of their 11 wins have come on either the last play of the game or they have come with controversy, which means that 11-1 could very easily be 6-5 right now.
Yep.
Or should I say 6-6 right now, actually.
Mm-hmm. And for those that didn't hear, the Lions beat the Bears 23-20. Detroit survived that game in the opening game.
All right. Before we go to the Sunday games, I do want to point out something real quick. The latest college football playoff rankings have been released.
Please do.
Of course, at the top is, of course, undefeated Oregon. At number 2, it is the team that will be playing for the SEC Championship in their first season in the conference, Texas. Number 3, SMU. And number 4, Boise State. And here's how the matchups look so far, right now, if the playoffs were to start. We would have number 12, Arizona State, going to Penn State, who is number 5. The next matchup would feature number 9, Tennessee, going to Columbus to take on the number 8, Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 11, the Alabama Crimson Tide, believe it or not, would be going to South Bend to take on the number 6, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And number 10, Indiana Hoosiers, would be going to Athens to take on the number 7, Georgia Bulldogs. But of course, these rankings are going to change come next Sunday because, let's see, Texas and Georgia will be playing each other for the SEC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
You got Oregon, who's going to be playing Penn State in the Big Ten Championship. You got SMU, who's going to be taking on Clemson in the ACC Championship. So, anything can happen.
Anything that is right, my friend, can happen. Anything can happen. Moving on to the Sunday portion of the NFL schedule. The Colts beat the Patriots in a wild game, 25-24, on a game-winning touchdown drive by Anthony Richardson with the Colts. And going for the ultimate gamble to not play for overtime. Instead, Richardson ran it in for the 2-point conversion. Texans beat the Jaguars 23-20 on a game where they were up at least double digits and the Jags came back in this game. Commanders, after losing 3 games in a row, Washington finally wins a game to go up to 8-5 on their record. They demolished the Titans 42-19. Jaden Daniels played really good in this game instead of Terry McLaurin. Seattle absolutely got lucky, of course, against the Jets because the Jets are going to jet in late stages in the game. Seattle hung on and survived a late Jets fourth quarter drive to, just like in the Chicago game, not using timeouts. The Jets had multiple timeouts to use, and they did not use any one of them. Seattle beats the Jets 26-21, but before Seattle got back in this game, what capped off them coming back into this game was a 92 pick six or in this case, a great call by Kevin Harlan on Westwood One during the NFL season this year, a thick pick by Leonard Williams going 92 yards, I believe. That is the longest touchdown on an interception return by a defensive lineman since 2000. And it might go down in the record books as the longest touchdown return for a defensive lineman in NFL history. So if that is the case, how fitting a former Jet intercepted the current Jets quarterback for a pick six that got Seattle back into the game.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, how fitting is it that Aaron Rodgers just continues to struggle week in and week out, and now the Jets are 3-9, I believe. Yep, 3-9.
Yep, and also to note, this is Aaron Rodgers' worst record in his career as a starting quarterback. Let that sink in.
And see, and also, little side note here for Mr. Aaron Rodgers. If you want to try to get a touchdown pass to try to get your team ahead, why don't you try throwing it where the receiver can actually catch it other than 5 feet over his head?
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, before you go on to the next, or before we go on to the next game, I do want to point out that 5 former players / coaches have been named Hall of Fame finalists for the 2025 NFL Hall of Fame, and I'm only going to read off 2 of these names because, well, these are the only 2 names that I really know about, and they are former Seattle Seahawks and Green Bay Packers coach Mike Holmgren, as well as former Green Bay Packers wide receiver Sterling Sharp.
Yeah, but I read that earlier before the show went live as well.
All right, let's see. So moving on to the next game.
Minnesota survives the Cardinals and wins this game 23-22 after being down in this game. And got to give credit to Sam Darnold and company, Aaron Jones and company, and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson had 7 receptions for 99 yards in this game. Aaron Jones, after not having a great game, comes back late stages in the fourth quarter to save his best performance for last with a game-winning touchdown reception thrown by Sam Darnold. And the Vikings defense clamped on the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray and company could not get the ball in the field goal range to win the game. So Minnesota heads in with a 10-2 record right now. Moving on down the schedule, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in a complete shootout against Cincinnati, survived the Bengals in a hell of a game, 44-38.
That was quite a game up in the jungle.
Yes, it was. Russell Wilson had a really good game in this game, and so did Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I'm telling you, even though the Bengals' record has not been good this year, the Bengals all season long have pretty much been in the thick of things. And just think, Joey, like we talked about with the Chiefs, if Cincinnati would have won a couple more of these close games, they would be right in the mix.
They would. But since you said that both quarterbacks had good games, which they both did, let's take a look at a quarterback. Let's talk about a quarterback who did not have a good game, and that is Atlanta Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins.
Oh, and that actually was the next game I was going to bring up. Nice segue.
He threw not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 picks.
Captain Kirk at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is in rare form, ladies and gentlemen. If only this game was in prime time.
Got past the Falcons 17-13.
Yep, they did just enough to win this game, but Captain Kirk and his interceptions really helped the Chargers win, and that really was their secret weapon. I mean, if you think about it, if any one of those would have been multiple pick sixes, Kirk Cousins would have thrown a couple of touchdowns in this game, but to the opposite team.
Oh, big time.
The Buccaneers survived the Panthers in a wild game in Charlotte, North Carolina, 26-23. That went to overtime after the Panthers went up 23-20. Late stages with 30 seconds to be exact in the fourth quarter, but Baker Mayfield led the Buccaneers down the field to tie the game and send the game into overtime. And then the Bucs missed on a 55-yard kick, and then the Panthers fumbled the ball. Yep, the Panthers fumbled the ball, and then the Bucs capitalized, and they were able to win this game.
Oh, yeah. But speaking of close games, real quick, how about the Colts barely squeaking by the Patriots, 25-24?
Yep, 25-24. Anthony Richardson with a game-winning rush and 2-point conversion, and you know what? And the Colts gambled, and they made the right call to go for the win.
Yeah, they did.
The Rams.
Speaking of games that weren't so close, let's look back at the last 1:00 game on the schedule, which saw, what can I say, man? Jaden Daniels reverting back to his old form and leading the Commanders to a dominating 42-19 win over the Tennessee Titans, or as I like to call them, Nashville's worst form of entertainment.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Terry McLaurin and company finally looked like the team that was there in the first 4 to 5 weeks of the regular season, and just a great performance by Daniels and company because they needed this victory to get off the schneid after losing 3 games in a row, and they finally win their first game since the Hail Mary against Chicago.
Yep,
dominating Tennessee from the opening, kickoff. The Rams beat the Saints in an interesting game, 21-14. This game did not have really any offense going for it until the fourth quarter.
No, this game was absolutely crazy because Matthew Stafford, he's been known to have great games, and he's been known to have average games, and he's known to have below average games. But do you know how many passing yards this cat had in the first half against the Saints?
How much?
I'll tell you, 23.
Oh, man.
He had 23 passing yards in the entire first half against the Saints.
Brutal.
But Stafford was able to pick it up in the second half and toss a couple touchdowns. One to Puka Nacua and one, I believe, to Robinson.
I believe you are correct.
To give the Rams the victory. But if you're in New Orleans, you better be counting, or you better be saying your prayers, because you lost your tight end, Taysom Hill, to a torn left ACL. And he will, of course, indeed be out for the rest of the season and potentially a few weeks into the upcoming season.
Crazy.
That's a big offensive loss right there, especially when you still have Chris Olave on IR.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what was not a big offensive loss was this game, and that was the Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles went into enemy territory against the Ravens in a game on paper that was going to be one of the best games of the week, and the final score did live up to that. But this was a struggle of a game for both of these teams because the Eagles
actually was a struggle of a game because with his 2 missed kicks that he had, 2 missed field goals that he had on Sunday, Justin Tucker has now missed 10 kicks this year, and that is the most kicks he has ever missed in an NFL season.
Usually in Tucker we trust, and this season, not happening.
No,
and he also missed an extra point as well that went off the upright.
Yes, he did.
This was not a good performance by the Ravens. I mean, clearly, Lamar Jackson, yeah, he did make some plays from time to time, but he was clearly rattled and frustrated. The Ravens defense was frustrated. Saquon Barkley for the first 3 quarters really couldn't get nothing going. But then when it mattered the most, Saquon Barkley put on the Jets and boom, he was gone.
Yep, that
You know,
25-yard touchdown right there in the final minute of the fourth quarter pretty much sealed the win for Philly.
yup. And the Ravens did not win this game. They've had a nice run of victories this year, but if the Ravens are going to go far, they're going to have to beat the teams in their own conference to reach the Super Bowl
That's
that are
right.
considered top threats like the Steelers, the Bills, and yes, the Chiefs, because the
No, no,
Chiefs
no,
in
no,
the
no, 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 wait, wait,
playoffs.
wait, wait. It's not the Chiefs. You keep saying the team name wrong. It's the Chi-Refs.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. The Chi-Rats, my bad. Moving on down the schedule in a snowy first
Yeah, I'm
of
about to say,
December Buffalo.
speaking of Buffalo,
Yep, Buffalo absolutely destroyed San Francisco and what was left of this football team in the
yeah,
snow
seriously, of
in
what's left
Buffalo,
of them.
35-10.
I mean, you've already lost, what's his name? Dang it, what's his name?
Oh,
You already lost Elijah Mitchell at the
yep.
start of the season, and then now you once again lose star running back Christian McCaffrey, as well as the backup who tore it up while McCaffrey was hurt, Jordan Mason. Both of them going on IR now.
And you lost Trent Williams.
And you lost Trent Williams, and Nick Bosa was once again out.
This was not a good performance by San Francisco, and even during the predictions last week, we all said that look, if it's looking like it's going to snow, our confidence in the Niners in this game is not going to be high.
And
And I
see,
mean,
Brock Purdy, he only had 94 passing yards the whole entire game. 94 passing yards. Talk about brutal.
brutal performances by San Francisco. And look, I mean, I know Kevin on here has talked about how he is, he wants Shanahan to be gone. I understand that, but at the same time, like sometimes you got to ride things out because look, this is not San Francisco's year. I mean, they
No,
have struggled. The injury bug has bitten them once again, and they just can't stay healthy. They just can't stay healthy. And unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey has suffered a PCL injury. But the good news for him is it is not a torn PCL. It is a sprained MCL or PCL. Yes, he is out for the rest of the year because obviously that requires, healing and
6 weeks
stuff.
of recovery.
Yeah, 6 weeks of recovery. But the good news for Christian McCaffrey is he will be back for the start of the regular season next year, barring injuries.
Yes.
But if you're San Francisco, I mean,
The injury bug just keeps hanging around.
and Josh Allen and company in the snow played really well. And speaking of very well, what an unbelievable play by Josh Allen in that second half.
Oh yes, whenever he threw that pass to Amari Cooper, and then Amari lateraled it back to Josh Allen, who actually took it into the end zone for a touchdown. He threw 2 touchdowns and technically caught one.
Yep. And that was an awesome play. And the Bills looked very comfortable in snowy Buffalo
Yep,
on
as they
Sunday
always do.
against the Niners. Again, winning 35-10 and clinching the AFC East division.
That is right.
The Chiefs also with their victory against the Raiders on Black Friday have clinched their 10th consecutive playoff appearance and their 10th consecutive AFC West division crown. So both the Bills and the Chiefs are in, and it'll be interesting to see who goes to number 1 and number 2 because clearly the Bills or Chiefs are going to be number 1 and number 2 heading
Pretty
into
much.
the AFC side of the playoff bracket. Now
Now to finish off week 13, how about we go to Monday Night Football, which was surprisingly a very entertaining game last night.
Yes, because on paper, you look at the schedule, you're going, this doesn't look like a good game. This looks like it could be, not great. Might be some plays, but won't be great. But that was not the case last night. The Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns in Denver had a highly competitive, very well offensive track meet of a game. If you are a offensive guru, if you're an offensive, player, if you're a fan of offensive football, this was the game for you because there was a lot of plays made by both Browns and Broncos players alike. There was a 93-yard touchdown. There was a 235-yard receiving game by the one and only Judy.
Yeah, Jerry
Jeudy coming back to Denver and having the most receiving yards on the Broncos for an opposing receiver going back into the stadium against the Broncos. And our very own, our favorite interception king himself, of course, who are we talking about? Jameis Winston. 4 touchdowns, or technically 6 touchdowns.
It's just two of them went to the wrong team.
Yep, 4 touchdowns to his Cleveland teammates and 2 TDs to the Broncos. That basically accounted for 550 some odd yards on a total, yards. But if we're just talking strictly offense, he still had a pretty good day as far as yardage.
Oh yeah,
497 yards.
450 yards.
Yep.
Really good.
He did throw for 497. He did have the 4 offensive TDs and the 3 interceptions. 2 of those went for pick sixes. And Bo Nix, I am very impressed with this kid. Bo Nix has played some really, really good football. He has settled in. He's gotten very comfortable with Sean Payton and this Denver offense. And at first we were going Mo picks, because we didn't trust this kid. But we got to give the kid credit. He has really stepped it up and has played some really good football the last several weeks. In Denver right now, if the playoffs were to start, Denver would be the 7th seed, excuse me.
Yes, they would.
Denver playing pretty well, but Cleveland, as they always do, come up just a little bit short. But it was still a highly competitive game, and arguably this game and the Bengals and Steelers game could be considerations of games of the year for 2024 in the NFL regular season campaign. Again, we are live, folks, here on our Nation Sports Show. I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand, and unfortunately, Ezra cannot be here today due to a family obligation, and Hijacker will not be on with us tonight as he is probably dealing with work and all of that good stuff as well. But they will be back with us next week on the Sports Show. We are live here on youtube.com/Nation Sports Show. You can follow us on Twitter or X at @OWN_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And also don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, and where they are live on most Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. Be sure to like and share and subscribe to both of our channels, where you will get all of your sports and professional RASSLIN, that's wrestling, professional wrestling content. And before we get to the NFL prediction battles, I do want to talk about last night. Monday Night Raw was one of the best Monday Night Raws that we have seen all year long.
Definitely. Especially that beginning promo featuring Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
And he also added Sami Zayn in there as well. It was
also added Sami Zayn in there as well.
Very, very good. Back and forth they all went. Punk, just when you thought that he was going to probably go after Gunther or whatever he was going to do, then here comes Rollins out. They go back and forth, and then comes Sami Zayn. It was just crazy. It was a very good segment. Love the bars that both Rollins and Zayn were throwing at one another, and how of a loose cannon persona that Seth has been portraying. And I love Zayn's reaction to Seth, because he was like, look, I don't want to team with Punk. You want to accuse me of teaming with CM Punk. I wanted to team with you over him, but I didn't want to do it, but we had to. to take out
Yeah,
the bloodline.
and of course, you got to think, and of course, you got to look back to the event that preceded last night's amazing episode of Raw, and that, of course, was Survivor Series War Games that was held this past Saturday.
Yep, that War Games men's match was really, really good. Just good storytelling in the match. And I love the ending with the Bloodline and Punk giving their finishers to Solo Sikoa. Thought that was the right way to end that match. And another, a lot of people, wondering why didn't The Rock show up? Why didn't The Rock show up? Blah, 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 blah. I understand that, but at the same time, you don't need to reveal all your special surprises at the
No,
end of every PLE or
no,
pay-per-view. I mean, you got to keep the people guessing. Got to keep them hanging. Keep them tuning in. All of that good stuff.
absolutely.
Very good segment last night, and also a very good main event last night. And also, talking about Survivor Series, I did love Gunther versus Damian Priest. I mean, just a slugfest between those two. Very good psychology in this match, focusing on Priest's arm injury, his leg injury. I mean, just good psychology in this match.
Yep, and it also goes to show that even though Damian Priest said in the past that he's done with the Judgment Day, apparently the Judgment Day is not done with him, especially Finn Balor.
I believe you are correct with that, sir. And Shinsuke Nakamura, how about he won the United States Championship against L.A. Knight?
Yeah. I mean, this is my personal opinion. I feel like LA Knight's U.S. title reign was a little stale. Because after he, of course, defeated Logan Paul to win a title at SummerSlam, it's almost like he was going back and forth between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes and shutting off the entire rest of the roster. That's honestly what it felt like.
Tell what I felt like. I love the new gimmick with Shinsuke. I've been loving that, and I love that they changed his entrance music as well.
Shinsuke. I mean, you don't see the guy on TV for 7 to 8 months, and then he comes back with a new gimmick, and which definitely suits him, by the way.
And the new entrance music also suits him as well.
Oh yeah,
suits him as well. I mean, and also talking about last night on Monday Night Raw, you had the New Day segment, which was incredible television. I mean, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods coming out there looking like, oh, they're going to break. One of them's going to turn on one another, because of all the problems they've been having, arguing with one another. And then here out comes Big E. Big E gets a massive reception from the crowd. And he's talking about basically.
And then pretty much Kofi and Xavier tell Big E saying, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Big E talking about how, he wants to come back and manage his team, and this is who we are. I'm going to bring us back to where we were. I want to be a part of this, and until I'm medically cleared, I'm going to be with you guys every single week. And I just loved how the double swerve by Woods and Kofi came, because this completely turned everybody, into a frenzy going, what is going on? Like they were completely caught off guard. It was really good television.
Especially with the fact that Woods and Kofi were tearing each other apart the week before on Raw with their insane promo backstage.
Man, and that argument sounded like any prototypical argument you would get with your friend or your significant other. I mean, that came across as very real last week. But just, my God, they knocked it out of the park with these segments last night. Just us briefly talking about it, it's not doing it justice. If you haven't seen them already, check them out. And also, Sami Zayn took on Seth Rollins in the main event, and this really wasn't a main event just for it to be a match. There was a story within this match, because before the match, Sami found out that Jey Uso was attacked and laid out, and Sami's going crazy. Who attacked Jey Uso? Oh, I know. I'm going to kick his ass in the middle of the ring. And then him and Seth went out there, and Sami's losing his mind. And Seth's like, dude, calm your shit. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Whatever. And Sami's ready to knock his head off with the chair. And it was really cool, how they ran this match with the backstage stuff heading into the match, and
And
Seth
then, of
capitalized on
course,
Sammy's out of controlness with a roll up victory, and then Drew McIntyre out of
yeah, I'm about to say, Drew
nowhere,
McIntyre comes back and lays out Sami Zayn.
yep, with a Claymore. And man, there's a lot of twists and turns they can go with this Sammy stuff, because I mean, it's either McIntyre or it's Rollins. I'm honestly leaning more towards Rollins, because I think
Yeah,
Steph's having a character turn.
I think it is going to be Rollins, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. And if you want to hear more conversations like that when it comes to professional wrestling, tune into the Nation's Corner. Like I said, you can follow them on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, and where they're live on most Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. The reason why they were not live this past Saturday is because Survivor Series started so early compared to what it normally would, 6 o'clock in the Eastern time. And normally they would go live at 7 or at 6, but with everything going on, the pre-show was at 4 and the show started at 6. Like, they just took the week off, and pretty sure they're going to be recapping all of that happening this Saturday when they make their return. And also, again, you can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesdays as well at YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you are a fan of the world of sports like I know we are, tune into our show. We love doing what we do.
Yep, and while we're waiting on Mr. Kevin Roy to join us, I was looking at ESPN app to see if there were any storylines that we could talk about real quick, and I happened to come across a pretty big one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, do you remember a player that used to play, or that played in NBA by the name of Mr. Paul Millsap?
I do.
Well, he has officially announced earlier today that after 16 seasons, he is hanging it up and calling it a career.
Great career for the guy. I mean, just a decorated career. I mean, he has been around. He's been a journeyman in the NBA. I mean, of course, played with the Jazz. I believe he played with the Nuggets.
He played with the Hawks. So Paul Millsap.
Very good player.
A very dedicated NBA player.
Very good player. I mean, and he also developed a 3-point, jump shot as well.
Yes, he did. Let me see if there's any baseball news. I don't think
there is. There is. Chapman.
Oh yes, our Lotus Chapman is going to the Boston Red Sox on a 1-year deal.
Speaking of baseball, it's also going to be very interesting to see where Juan Soto goes to start out next season.
Yep, and let's see. The New York Rangers. Whoa, New York Rangers. I meant the Texas Rangers. They have signed former Yankee and Padre catcher Kyle Higashioka to a 2-year deal with a mutual option for 2027 for $13.5 million.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And let's see. The Chicago Cubs have added former Cleveland Guardians starter Matthew Boyd to their rotation, agreeing to a 2-year, $29 million deal. Pending a physical, of course. Let's see. Any other big names? Oh! How can we forget about this one? The biggest move, one of the biggest moves in MLB free agency. Left-hander and former San Francisco Giant Blake Snell has agreed to a 5-year, $182 million contract with the World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a pretty big contract.
Very interesting.
But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as Major League Baseball is concerned right now. Just waiting to see where Juan Soto is going to wind up landing and what other big name free agents could be either staying with their teams from last year or old teams. Now, let's see. I don't think there's anything else that we can talk about.
The Knicks are playing right now in the NBA.
Oh yeah, we can go over some of the NBA games that's going on right now. Let's see. This is another night of the NBA Cup where teams are looking to finalize their spot into the tournament portion of the NBA Cup. So let's see. Right now, with 29.7 seconds to go in the second quarter, the Philadelphia 76ers are up 55-44 over the Charlotte Hornets. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers currently defeating the Washington Wizards by a score of 60-38 with a minute 35 to go in the second quarter. With a minute and 40 to go in the second quarter, the Bucks currently lead the Detroit Pistons by a score of 74-55. Into the first quarter between the New York Knicks and the Orlando Magic, seeing the Knicks on top of in that one, 36-27. With a minute and 10 to go in the first quarter, the Toronto Raptors currently lead the Indiana Pacers by a score of 29-21. And tipping off here in just a minute is going to be the Utah Jazz and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And of course, still to come later on tonight.
I'm sorry. I got to butt in. I just came across this on Twitter. There is going to be an Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix. You know what the title is? Enigma.
What's the title?
Enigma.
Oh my gosh.
It comes out December 17th.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Brutal. It's terrible.
Yeah, he's gonna go back to his darkness retreat. He's gonna go back to his darkness retreat days.
Oh my god. That is hilarious. Shout outs to Cody Decker on Twitter for retweeting this. Oh my god.
Yes, for sure. But yes, still to come later on in NBA action. It's going to be the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Dallas Mavericks.
Real quick, Cody Decker on Twitter said in the quote tweet, quote, fucking lunatic. That's a far better title.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, still to come. Also in the NBA, we got the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Phoenix Suns. Got the Golden State Warriors going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. You got the Houston Rockets, who are surprisingly playing very good so far this year, going to Sacramento to take on the Kings. And then our last game of the night is going to feature the Portland Trailblazers going to the new arena in Los Angeles to take on the Clippers. Which it still feels kind of weird that the Lakers and Clippers now have their own arenas. And ladies and gentlemen, joining us for our Week 14 pick segment, please welcome the one and only Mr. KR Kevin Roy. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, everybody?
Not much, man. So before we get to the prediction battles, you want to give your thoughts real quick on the of the notable things in Week 13 for you? Because I know the Shahir hit on Lawrence was a big thing, and also Matt Eberflus's firing with Chicago was a big topic as well.
Yeah, they should have fired Eberflus before he even left Ford Field that day. That was the worst clock management. And honestly, I think he actually has beaten the Cowboys and Dak Prescott's quarterback sneak with 14 seconds is the worst time management I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
You have one timeout and you don't call it.
I think they had 2 timeouts.
I think it's one. I think Detroit had one and Chicago had one.
I know Detroit had one.
Yeah, I think Chicago had one.
But I know you kind of have a different opinion on the Shahir hit, with Lawrence, because you being a player and playing football, like you have a different perspective of as a former player yourself.
Yeah, I mean, was it an illegal hit? Yes. Was it a dirty hit? No. I don't care what you say. I don't care what people say. If Trevor Lawrence don't want to be hit, maybe he should have slid earlier. Maybe he shouldn't have even tried to run. I'm just saying. Tom Brady literally went out today. Tom Brady literally went out today and said this was on Trevor Lawrence. He should have took care of himself first. As a defender going full speed, it is hard to pull up when you already have launched yourself. And honestly, the only reason he got suspended is because who he hit. Because I promise you, if he hit someone like like Brock Purdy or Matthew Stafford or Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, somebody who isn't a first round pick like that, I promise you they would not have said a damn thing. But because he hit the NFL's golden boy, Trevor Lawrence, Lord forbid, that's a 3-game suspension. I just don't agree with it because watching football in my past, I have watched Kiko Alonso literally knock Joe Flacco unconscious and only get fined. That was 10 times as worse as this hit, but yet this hit finds a 3-game suspension.
Exactly.
I don't agree with that.
Like I said, and like I was talking to Steven earlier, we've seen our share of dirty players, most notably players like Ndamukong Suh and players like Vontaze Burfict.
Yep, and neither one of them dealt with a suspension like that. I don't agree with it.
No.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on as far as this weekend goes? Because I know there were some games for you that kind of jumped off the board for you. I know that Eagles and Ravens game, the Chiefs and Raiders, and of course the Niners and the Bills, and like there were some games I know for you.
Talk about your Niners, or at least what's left of them.
Well, there was always an episode of SpongeBob where a guy that talks about he's hurt all the time and he's crippled and has a heart attack and he wakes up in the morning and both his legs are broken and he has another heart attack. I said, that's our team this year. I want to retract on that statement that I made 2 weeks ago, though, because I don't necessarily agree. Like, actually studying it, I don't think Kyle Shanahan should be fired. Has he made some boneheaded decisions this year? Definitely. Should there be questions about it? Yes. But again, if you're an owner, if you're Jed York, if you fire Kyle Shanahan, who are you going to get to replace him?
And I was just thinking that too, Kev, because I was talking about this to Joey yesterday, and I believe I was talking this to our buddy Bo about this. Like, if you're San Francisco and you fire Shanahan, who the hell are you going to turn to be the next head coach? Because the one thing about Purdy, about McCaffrey, and about the rest of that organization, about Deebo Samuel and Ayuk and Kittle, they know Kyle's playbook. They know his playbook and what he likes to run.
It's not. I think it's more about Shanahan. Again, if Shanahan got fired, like they were saying, he would be hired with the organization within the next 30 minutes. Like, I can guarantee you Chicago's on the phone begging him to come there if he gets fired. I guarantee you there's about 26 organizations begging for him, willing to drop their head coach. I think the only coaches that will not be dropped over Kyle Shanahan are Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, that's really it. Maybe Dan Campbell. I mean, Dan Campbell's not a better coach than Shanahan, but I think they're comfortable in Detroit with him. But I think outside of that, any other organization would drop whoever for Kyle Shanahan. So I don't necessarily think firing him's offense, and I've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's been to 2 Super Bowls, 3 NFC Championship games. He's successful, and when I look at this team, there's other coaches in the league that have literally done jack squat for 2 years straight and still have a job. It baffles my mind how some coaches literally can get hired and for so long and have a damn job and suck so bad. So I got to, as far as the team goes, I think what Shanahan went this year, everybody wants to cry and say, well, defenses have schemed up for the Shanahan scheme now. They've done it now. Shanahan's been exposed. His playbook, his offense has been exposed. I don't agree with that either because of the fact that Shanahan is very game plan based. He bases his game plan off of Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk. What happened since the very start of the season? Ayuk held out all training camp, so then he has to pivot to something else. Christian McCaffrey's been hurt all training camp in the first 8 weeks of the year, so he had to game plan a whole different game plan, and then everybody else seemingly goes down one by one by one by one by one. It's literally player after player after player hurt. And honestly, everybody in my fan group, they want to cry and blame the coaching staff. Like, oh, them trainers have got to be better. I can't do it. I used to be mad, like, damn, how are these players getting this hurt? But when you look at it from a distance. These players have been playing into February, late January, 5 years in a row now.
That is true.
Every single year, they're deep in the playoffs. They don't get the luxury of other teams that get put out or miss the playoffs where they have a whole December till July, August to play. These guys were just playing in February. They ran McCaffrey into the ground last year, literally 2,000 total scrimmage yards and 23 touchdowns, and of course, he come in this year like banged up. He wasn't going to last. But,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm just glad, like you said on Facebook, bro, how good thing it's a sprain and not nothing torn because, yeah, he's out for the rest of the year because it's 5 to 6 weeks, to heal up, and the season will be done by then. But at least he will not miss next year going into 2025.
The problem is with a sprain, is different than surgery. If you sprain your ACL, you're going to be the same player. Like, you're going to be just explosive. If you tear your knee or tear something, you're not guaranteed to be that explosive because of the surgically repaired knee. But because he doesn't have to have surgery, he can literally just rest. Literally stay off his feet, rest his calf, rest his Achilles. And I think the knee injury comes directly from the Achilles because he realized he had tendonitis and he was overcompensating. When a player gets hurt, they overcompensate on certain body parts to protect the body parts that hurt, causing for more injury. And that's what happened essentially. He was overcompensating for the calf and Achilles and put a lot of strain on his knee. But it is what it is, and I don't really care about winning another game the rest of the year because if the 49ers get a high draft pick, don't let the 49ers go get someone like Travis Hunter. Do not do it because you're going to be fucked up. I'm telling you, if you let a good team that's just been injury riddled get a top 10 pick in the draft, while all these other teams are crying and begging for quarterbacks, the 49ers are going to have the chance to get the best skill position player in the draft, which is Travis Hunter, or the best defensive player in the class, or the best offensive lineman in the class, while all these other top heavy teams in the top of the draft are worried about getting quarterbacks. So all I'm saying is that'll be fine with me.
Good points.
As far as the Raiders concerned, I don't know how the Kansas City Chiefs keep getting away with this shit. I don't know how they keep slipping by with wins, and it will always baffle me. But the way they look, and I know I'm not the idiot to sit there and say, oh, Kansas City won't be there in the playoffs, because I know better. I've seen Kansas City go from shit to turn it on when it comes January, so I will not underestimate them. But the AFC team that looks like it's the team to beat is the Buffalo Bills, and I say that wholeheartedly because of how well Josh Allen's playing, They've got that cancer off of the football team. Stephon Diggs. Now other receivers are playing selfless. They play like team. They play team ball. They can run the ball. They can play defense. They got rid of all them high-paid, overpaid players on defense and play even better defense. Sean McDermott is one hell of a coach. I mean, he's got the best winning percentage in the NFL since 2021, other than Andy Reid. That just goes to show you that he's a damn good coach. So I'm not saying they should be favored over Kansas City because I know what Kansas City does in January. They'll look like shit to gold within a matter of months. I've never seen anything like it. But right now, I think the favorite should be the Buffalo Bills, not even the Baltimore Ravens, because Lamar's having a hell of a year, kind of slowed down a little bit, and Derrick Henry's all world, but guess what? Justin Tucker went from, I don't know, he went from kicking everything to he turns into Jake Moody right now. He can't make a fucking field goal. An interesting stat I read was the Baltimore Ravens have lost their games this year as a total of 22 points. Justin Tucker has missed 22 points in field goals this season.
Oh, that is brutal.
Those missed field goals really matter. So,
that is brutal. That is brutal.
think, and you know what? In the playoffs, special teams comes back to haunt you. And I think it will for the Ravens when it comes to playoffs between Lamar Jackson. I know what he does in January. And now you got to worry about Justin Tucker. Yeah, I think the Buffalo Bills should be favored over them.
I agree. And before we get to the NFL week 14 prediction battles, I do want to bring this to your attention here, Kevin. I just read this on Twitter. Cody Decker retweeted a tweet that says that there is going to be a Netflix documentary on Aaron Rodgers, and the title of it suits him, Enigma, and it will be out on December 17th.
Dear Jesus Christ. Yeah. And you know what his next documentary should be titled Washed, because that's what he is. You know what? When they asked me at Thanksgiving dinner, did I wash the dishes? I sent a picture of Aaron Rodgers, and they said, "What's that?" I said, "It's washed. It means it's been washed." That's what I did.
Oh, perfect. But ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for our Week 14 prediction battles as we predict the games during the National Football League's regular season. It is hard to believe we are this will be 14 weeks. We have done this already this year, like we said at the beginning of the year. You better enjoy the ride because it'll zoom on by just like that. That's pass you by quickly.
Before we officially get started with our Week 14 pick segment for the week, I do want to point out that this pick segment is being sponsored by LeBrick James. That's right, I said LeBrick James. If you want to continuously suck at three-point shooting, go get lessons from LeBrick James because he'll be able to teach you nice and good.
Oh, and ask his son. And if you want expertise on how to suck so bad, just go to Bronny.
That's right.
What can LeBrick do for you? Build a whole brick house of nothing but mysteries.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get things started here with our first game. And
before you do, we have some numbers to rattle
yes,
off.
I do. I forgot about that. But I will point out that I do have Ezra's and Hijacker scores, so I'll be reading them as we go by game. But this close.
Yep.
This close, people.
Again.
This close. We had 3 people, me, Steven, and Ezra, only miss 1 game this past week. So because of that, we went 15-1. Both me, Steven, and Ezra, which of course were our 3 winners of the week. Hijacker finished 1 game behind us, going 14-2. And Kevin rounded up the rest of the field, going 13-3.
Still better records than the Cowboys.
and the Panthers and the Jets.
Combined. Period. End of
Combined.
story.
All right, so let's go ahead and get things started off with an absolute banger on Thursday Night Football.
Banger
And yes,
after
I
banger.
said banger. It's going to be banger after banger after banger, which is a WWE Sheamus reference, might I add.
Fella.
But yes, it is an NFC North showdown in Ford Field where surprisingly Eberflus is probably he's probably still on that sideline, but it's going to feature Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers going into Detroit to take on the Lions.
Eberflus by now probably had time to pack his bags, and I bet you his foot's still not outside the door.
Probably not. But I'm going to go ahead and get things started with their scores. Real quick. There we go. Okay, Ezra is picking the Lions to win this one 30-24. And Hijacker is going almost the same score, but he's going 31-24.
I'm going to go a little bit lower. I got it, a close game as well, but give me the Lions in a close one, 27-24.
You know what? I think I might actually go a little bit lower than that. I think this is going to be a very tough game. I mean, there is going to be some offense, but this is probably going to be a defensive battle right here. So I'm still going to go with the Lions, but I'm going to go with the Lions. I'm going to go 23-19.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go similar, but I'm gonna pick the Packers. I don't think Detroit's gonna sweep the whole division. So give me the Packers in the upset on Thursday night. Give me the Packers 27-25.
Whoa! Check out
Okay.
that score too.
Okay.
All right, moving on to Sunday, we got Mr. Enigma, all the way, aka Aaron Rodgers, aka Aaron Rodgers, leading his New York Jets, who suck, into Miami to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins.
Give me Miami to beat the Jets. Give me Miami 24-14.
Let's see. Hijacker. He is picking the Dolphins 24-19. And Ezra is picking the Dolphins outright 34-13.
Damn. As Ron Simmons would say.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well. For some reason, this is telling me that this is going to be a close game, and I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I think this is going to be a close game. Give me the Dolphins though. I'm going to go 28-21.
Yeah, as long as Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback there, they're going to lose. But they need to make a quarterback change. They need to put Jimmy Uso as quarterback. Jimmy Uso starting quarterback in Miami. No University.
Put Mr. No Yeet University at quarterback.
No University starting quarterback. No, give me Miami 27-13 against the Enigma Styles. I don't Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Jimmy Uso should be starting quarterback, though. No University.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be talking about his darkness retreat, which he probably needs to go back on.
If darkness had a son, it would be Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Up next on the 1 o'clock schedule, we got a homecoming of we have a homecoming of sorts with Atlanta Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins going back to Minnesota as the Falcons played the Minnesota Vikings.
Give me Minnesota to give Kirk Cousins a complete ass whipping. 34-10. and Kirk Cousins throws 3 interceptions, including a pick 6.
Let's see. Ezra is picking the Vikings over the Falcons 27-17. And Hijacker is picking the Vikings outright 35-17. I'm going to follow suit with everybody up to this point. I think Kirk Cousins, I want to say throw 3 picks. I think he's going to throw at least 2, though. Give me the Vikings to win this game. I'm going to go 31-14.
Okay.
Yeah, give me Minnesota. I don't think it's going to be close. Atlanta absolutely sucks. Kirk Cousins might be even worse. I actually think Kirk Cousins won't throw but 1 pick because I actually think he will be benched by the 3rd quarter. Give me Minnesota. Give me Minnesota in this one. 31-7.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Michael Penix time for the rest of the season.
Wow. Well, all right. Up next, up in the Meadowlands, we got Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints taking on Mr. Daniel Jones. Oh, excuse me. I mean, whoever the quarterback's name is.
Drew Lock.
It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. You're still going to lose to the Saints.
But it's the Saints taking on the Giants.
Give me the Saints to beat the Giants. They played a lot better. Give me the Saints in this one, 24-13.
Let's see. Hijacker is picking the Saints 21-13, and Ezra is picking the Saints 24-10.
Damn, similar scores almost.
Yeah, give me the Saints as well. I'm gonna go with the Saints. I'm gonna go 28. You know what? I'm gonna make Hijacker proud. 28-8 with the New York Giants getting 4 safeties.
Damn. I actually think because of the snow and the cold that it's going to be a little closer. And I think New Orleans not being able to play outside of a dome is going to be a factor. But I'm going to still pick the Saints 20-17.
Okay. All right. Oh gosh. This next game. Excuse me as I say, ass kicking alert. Ass kicking alert. Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers going up to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles.
Oh, brutal. Give me the Eagles to fly over these cardiac kitty cats. Give me the Eagles to bludgeon the Panthers as Saquon Barkley runs to another victory. Give me Philadelphia 35-10.
Let's see. Ezra is picking the Eagles 31-23.
That's a little too close.
Is picking the Eagles 30-21.
Oh, come on, man. That's a little too close, guys. Come on.
You know what? I mean, I'll admit this Panthers team has looked decent. They've looked decent these past couple of weeks, pushing Kansas City to the limit and almost beating Tampa Bay if it wasn't for that ridiculous fumble by Chuba Hubbard. But they're now back on the road, facing a team that is coming off a decisive victory over the Baltimore Ravens this past week. So give me the Eagles to win this one. I'm going to go 31-12.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with Ezra and Hijacker on this. I think it's gonna be closer because tendency is when you come off a big win like that, the next week the energy level's down. You just kind of set yourself up, and the Panthers have been playing.
That's a good point.
Baker and them struggled against the Panthers, and if it wasn't for a fumble in overtime, I don't know, the Panthers team might have pulled out a victory. Bryce Young has looked a lot better. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the water in Charlotte they changed or something, but he's actually looked like a decent quarterback. So I think the Eagles still win by over a touchdown. Give me the Eagles 26-17.
Okay.
But it's gonna be a fight.
Okay.
All right, well, coming up next, up in Pittsburgh, it'll be the Steelers' opportunity to get some revenge after what happened a couple of weeks ago on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Um, the Steelers welcoming Nick Chubb and the Cleveland Browns to town.
Yeah, I think in this case, payback will be definitely a bench. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to get revenge on Cleveland to the tune of 28-17. And Jameis Winston throws two more interceptions, including a pick six.
All right, let's see. Hijacker is picking the Steelers over the Browns 23-21. And Ezra is picking the Steelers 26-18. I think this is going to be, I think this is going to be a very close game. I'm still going to go with the Steelers, though, because this will be their chance to get their revenge on Cleveland after what happened a couple weeks ago. But give me the Steelers on a game-winning field goal, 26-23.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a similar score. I think the Steelers will get revenge. But I must say, I got to say, I forgot to mention it, but Jameis Winston looked like me playing Madden out there with all the touchdown passes, throws for 500 yards, and still throws two pick sixes at the same time. He looked like me playing Madden. Like every time I play somebody, I throw a pick. I throw for 500 yards. I tear them up. I score 40 points, and I still throw two pick sixes in the damn time being. So, good job, Jameis. But no, I think Pittsburgh gets and also Russell Wilson throwing for 400 yards. Well, who the fuck is this guy? Philip Rivers or something? I don't know.
Here's
But
a guy.
no, here's a guy. But I got to say, I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh in this one, 23-20.
Good score.
Oh yeah, and before we move on to the next game, speaking of Madden, I of course have Madden NFL 25 as well, and I've been playing some games on it. So I'm actually about to get a Game Pass membership. So K Rod, you may need to link up sometime.
Oh, yeah, just hit me up. I'll be on there.
All right, next game down in Tampa. It's gonna be the Las Vegas Raiders going into Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Let's see. Ezra is picking the Bucks to win this one, 27-14. Hijacker is picking the Bucks as well, 22-16.
Similar scores, Hijacker. Give me the Bucks to win in a kind of a crazy game. Give me the Bucks to win. You know what? Give me the Bucks 19-16.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Bucks. I don't think what the Raiders are gonna do what they did last week with the Chiefs, as far as go off like that. So give me the Bucks in this one, 24-18.
Okay.
Almost similar score. I'm gonna go the Bucks 23-19. All right, up next from Nashville, we're gonna have the Trevor Lawrence-less Jacksonville Jaguars going going into Nashville to take on the Titans. Let's see. Hijacker is picking the Jaguars to win this one in an upset, 17-14. And Ezra is picking the Titans, 20-13. I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, this is.
You know what? Give me the Titans. Titans on a game-winning field goal, 17-14.
Yeah, that's another one. I think as bad as the Titans can be, other than this past Sunday, obviously. Will Levis has played a lot better as well. So, and Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he's going to be ready or not with the concussion, because I heard the other day or yesterday they asked him, "Hey, Trevor Lawrence, hey, what's your name? Who's the president of the United States?" And you know what his answer was? Blue. So I don't think he's going to be ready. Mac
Yeah,
Jones it is. Give me Tennessee. I think Tony Pollard's going to be the MVP of this game and run all over them. Give me Tennessee in a close one, 17-14.
give me
Hey,
yeah,
same score as me.
Yeah,
give me Tennessee to beat the Jags. Give me the Titans just to do enough. Give me Tennessee 19-13.
All right, you said the Titans too, right, Steven?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. All right, moving on to the 4 o'clock games. We have a NFC West showdown taking place in the desert with Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks going
Oh
into
boy.
Arizona to take on the Cardinals.
Oh boy.
Which this game might be crucial to determine who gets closer to the NFC West title.
yeah. I hope a meteor hits both of them and they both freaking lose this game. And just fuck it, fuck them.
But Ezra, let's see. Wow. Interestingly enough, both Hijacker and Ezra are picking the Seahawks, and they're also picking the exact same scores. 23-21, Seattle.
Oh, they're in cahoots. You know what? And then I'm gonna start this one out for us. I'm going against the grain. Seattle squeaked by Arizona in Seattle in the weather, but I think Arizona in Glendale is gonna squeak this one out on the legs of Kyler Murray. Give me Arizona 24-22.
Yeah, I think, man, this game is so tough because both of these two teams are kind of interesting and hard enough to figure out. Give me Arizona to get revenge on Seattle. Give me Arizona in a close one with it being a divisional game. Give me the Cardinals 23-20.
Cardinals 22-21.
Ooh!
Game winning touchdown run by Kyler Murray.
Wow. Okay.
All right, up next, down in LA, it's going to be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills going into LA to take on Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
I look for Buffalo to continue their dominance. Give me Buffalo to beat the Rams enough to secure the victory. Give me Buffalo over the Rams 28-20.
All right, let's see. Hijacker is picking the Bills outright, 35-16, and Ezra is picking the Bills 30-27.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily gonna go close unless the Bills have some kind of jet lag from flying, but I don't think this Rams team is not good. Matthew Stafford had 10 passing yards going into halftime the other day. I do
Yeah,
not trust this
23 passing
offense.
yards, actually.
23. Still, he didn't even get over 100 for he struggled. I think this Bills defense is going to put it on him, and I think this game is going to be outright. Give me the Bills. I'm going to go 28-7.
No mercy.
Give me the Bills outright. I'm going to go 37-14. All right, up next, a battle in the Bay. It's going to be Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears going into San Francisco, or as Hijacker might like to say, Santa Clara, to take on the injury-depleted 49 IRs.
Give me the Bears to beat Santa Clara, as Hijacker would say. Give me the Bears to beat San Francisco. To do just enough, give me Chicago 17-10.
Yeah, you know what? I want the Bears to win this game. I just at home Brock Purdy's healthy again. Jawan Jennings and George Kittle's going to have big days. I don't trust Caleb Williams in this offense. Brand new coach. I think the 49ers find a way to win. I'm going to pick the 49ers 24-13.
You know what? I'm actually having considerations.
For the simple fact, I think Brock Purdy and George Kittle's going to link up and have a big day. This Bears defense cannot stop the pass.
Yeah. After just delete that. Yeah. Alt Control Delete. Yeah. I don't trust Chicago now. Just thinking about it because of of new coach. They're so depleted. Give me San Francisco to beat Chicago in a pretty competitive game. Give me San Francisco to at least get a victory in this season again. Give me the Niners 21-17.
All right, let's see. Ezra is picking, of course, his hometown Bears 24-20. And Hijacker is picking the Niners 27-17. I'm going to go just about the same score as Hijacker, giving the Niners 28-17.
Yeah, new coach in Chicago. Don't trust him.
All right, Sunday Night Football. Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers going into Kansas City to take on the lucky as hell Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see. Hijacker is picking the Chiefs 28-24. And Ezra going just about the same score, 28-23. But you know what? I'm going to start this one off. And I'm picking a shocker.
No.
I'm picking the Chargers.
Oh!
I'm picking the Chargers. Because somebody is going to have to expose Kansas City for being the lucky frauds that they are right now. And I think the Chargers can be the team to do it if they play their cards right. So, with that being said, give me the Chargers to win this one on a game-winning field goal, 26-24.
Yeah, you know what? I'm picking the Chargers too. I think Jim Harbaugh has this defense playing elite. We've seen it last week. We've seen it throughout the season. I think this defense makes Mahomes struggle, and I'm going to pick the Chargers in a shocker. I think they can run the ball well and get the run game going with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Bus. I'm going to go the Chargers on also a game-winning field goal, but I'm going a low score. I'm going 21-18 with a game-winning field goal from Dicker the kicker. He's going to say, "Suck this, Dicker the kicker," and kick it through. That's going to be his phrase. Suck this, Dicker the kicker for 3. And you know what? Here's my wild prediction. I believe that he has to kick the ball 3 different times because I believe the refs try to cheat so hard they throw 3 different flags on the game-winning field goal attempt and keep pushing it back, and he still hits it. And he says, "Suck all this, Dicker the kicker."
Yeah, you know what? Kansas City eventually has to lose. I mean, they eventually have to lose. I mean, it's God, it's so tough. I mean, it's so tough because this isn't the same old Chargers. Where obviously Brandon Staley was the head coach, and Brandon Staley was the one that held them back. I think the Chiefs are due to lose a game in Kansas City. And I think the Chargers are going to pull off the upset. Give me the Chargers to beat Kansas City. I'm going 30-20.
Whoa, okay. Going with the Chargers outright. Okay.
They got to lose at some point.
Yeah, they got to.
Because I don't think Kansas City's lost a game all year long in Kansas City.
No,
they have not. They have not.
Because the one game that they did lose was up in Buffalo. But now let's go to a team that is undefeated at home, hopefully not too much longer, to a team that won their first home game of the season on Thanksgiving. Monday Night Football. Joe Burrow and the Bengals going into football hell to take on the Cowboys.
You know what?
Cincinnati. Oh, go ahead.
I know Cincinnati has a shitty defense. I mean, they might have an all-time bad defense. 4 games this year, Cincinnati has scored 30, 33, 38, and 30, another 30 piece, and they lost all 4 of them. So, however, if nobody has any defense in this game, I do not think this sorry sack of crap Cooper Rush is going to go in there and put up 400 yards on against Joe Burrow. Give me Cody Rhodes. I meant Joe Burrow in a close one, or in a closer-ish one, but I don't think CD Lamb. Sorry, buddy, you're not going to CD win column in this one. And Micah Parsons, you and your we're not done yet. We're making a run. You can sit the hell down somewhere and shut the hell up, because I'm going Cincinnati. I'm going to go big. Give me Cincinnati 41-28.
Whoa! Dang! All
Cody
right.
Rhodes is going to throw 4 touchdowns.
Adrenaline in his soul. Something Joe Burrow.
All right, let's see. Ezra is picking the Bengals 27-17, and Hijacker is picking the Bengals 31-20. I'm going to follow suit with everybody, and I'm going to go Cincinnati outright. I think this is going to be Joe Burrow's game to shine. So give me the Bengals to win this one. I'm going to go 38-10.
Give me Cincinnati to finally get a win by scoring at least 30 or more. Give me the Bengals to beat the Cowboys. And where is this game at?
In Dallas.
Oh, perfect. You know what?
Cincinnati can win on the road. They can't win at home.
Give me Cincinnati to hang another 30 McNugget on the Cowboys on the road, or on the road in the Cowboys home stadium. Give me the Bengals to be the next team to give the Cowboys another home loss this year alone. Give me the Bengals 35-7.
All right, and that'll do it for Week 14 action. This is our last week of buys because we have 6 teams on bye this week, and these are the last 6 teams. They, of course, are the Ravens, the Broncos, the Texans, the Colts, the Patriots, and my Commanders, which my Commanders definitely needed.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, my team needs to buy the next year.
Yes, for real.
I mean, it's getting so bad, and I know the Bloodline, they're all 49er fans, so it's getting so bad, we might have to suit the Bloodline up to come out there and play on the roster.
Jimmy Uso, no University.
Pretty much.
I mean, he's put Roman Reigns out there linebacker.
Yeah, as far as Steven's favorite team, they might need a bye for about 5 years.
No. Favorite team, my ass.
I knew who would make a good cornerback for the 49ers, though.
Who?
Kamatonga, he talking to the receivers. Yeah. And I know who would make a good hype man on the team too.
Who's that?
Or who would hype the coach up? Solo. I love you, Shanahan.
No. A good hype man would be Jacob Fatu. I love you.
Yeah. He would be the hype man. Solo would just play offensive line. We already got somebody on the O-line that looks like Solo. Dominic Pooney. He looks just like Solo without the blonde hair.
Pretty much.
Nah, Jacob Fatu wouldn't be a hype man. Jacob Fatu would be some kind of safety. He'd be flipping over the line, doing moonsaults over the offensive line, hitting the quarterback. And then when someone tries to block him and they hits him, he just looks at him like that didn't hurt him.
Right? I mean, he is a Samoan werewolf for a reason.
What did he say when he introduced himself? He didn't even say he went to college. He just said,
I love you.
I'm a Samoan werewolf. I love you, Solo.
If our truth was on this team and he saw that go down, he would go, motherfucker.
Hey, that shit sounds fun. That shit sounded funny when Roman introduced him. Like, you ever seen players that come from the Ohio State? They'll go, such and such from the Ohio State University. Roman Reigns said, Roman Reigns, the OTC. Or no, he said, the Island of Relevancy.
Wait a second. The Ohio State University? You mean the exact same Ohio State University that has now lost to Michigan 4 years in a row?
Ouch. With no Jim Harbaugh.
That Ohio State Buckeyes team? I don't recognize them.
Yeah, that suck eyes.
Woo!
Yeah, that's just Roman Reigns, the Island of Relevancy.
Yeah, but Southern Sokoa, TCU, otherwise known as Tribal Chief University.
TCU.
Oh my God. Before we get off the air, I do want to bring that up, Kev. We were talking about Raw last night. Like, dude, that was some incredible storytelling last night.
Oh yeah, that was sick. That was a sick Raw last night.
Oh my gosh, like,
hey,
good.
That promo fed families. The one with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, that fed families. That was my favorite promo. But as far as the height, that shit, they were scolding each other. Seth hit Sammy hit him with it. You talk about the monster you created. You're the one that created it 10 years ago. He said, "Oh yeah, well you talk about the cheering this back line. Yes. You're the one that you did it too, buddy."
Exactly.
Damn.
I loved it. Like, it was just like they were hitting home run after home run last night. Like, good congratulations by everybody involved. Like, it was a damn good Raw last night.
Yeah, now they got the drama of who attacked Jay. Was it Drew? Was it Seth? Was it Punk? Who was it?
And it's crazy. Like, there's so many twists and turns. Like, it is unreal.
Yeah, you don't know where they're going because Drew hit Sam. Drew came back, kicked Sammy. Seth has got beef with Punk. Someone attacked Jay. Who the hell knows what it is? And who knows what the fucking favor is that CM Punk wants from Paul Heyman? Well, what are we getting here? You know what? I got to say, though, last thing on this, Paul Heyman made another meme again, just like him and Roman always make memes. They make memes. And someone said, "Do you want to go to your in-law house for Thanksgiving?" No. from Friday night when he was talking about math doesn't make sense to your counsel, you're wise man. No. So, and then there was another meme talking about when you're at Walmart self-checkout and you need assistance from any cashier that no one's paying you attention, and it has Roman Reigns looking around going, "Acknowledge me." Oh man, there's so many memes. And then the other meme, I don't know, somebody on TikTok has made 1 million memes out of stuff Roman and Paul Heyman said. Someone talk about Roman's like, "Hey, yeah, you mad because I worked half the amount of time as you and I still get paid more than you." Damn.
Oh man, but yeah, WWE is on fire. They're on fire, and that New Day segment last night was also incredible as well.
That was great. That was hard. That was emotional.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, real quick, Kevin, before you get off the air, or before we get off the air, I gotta say, you want to go to somebody's page who posts hilarious videos, more specifically game highlights from the NFL. Look up HydroCam. I mean, that dude is freaking hysterical.
Okay, I would definitely do that, but yeah, you're right, Steven. WWE's on one. That was heartbreaking with the New Day. I mean, we get
the ultimate double swerve.
That's the craziest heel turn I've seen in a long time. Just like out of a celebration. We're a heel New Day now. And you know what? Don't forget, next week's going to get even good, too, because the one I'm interested in, the Wyatt Six and the Final Testament, that is going to be an interesting match. There's been so many twists and turns in that.
Dog fight.
Yes.
That has been so many twists and turns in that, from the Miz setting up the Wyatt Six to the Nikki Cross kidnapping. There's so many twists and turns. This is gonna be going on for a little bit. I can
Oh
tell.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I hate it for Big E though, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Man, he had me, man. He was like,
Heartbreak.
until I'm cleared, I'm gonna come out here, be with you guys. We're gonna do what we do. We're gonna remind everybody who we are. And then Xavier Woods and Kobe were like, come back? Where the hell have you been all this time? You had
Yeah.
all this time to come back to us, and you turned your back on us. You did your other things, your other projects were more
Yeah.
important. Your girlfriend was more important. Your
He said-
desk job was more important.
Yeah, he said, stay behind the desk where you belong. Go back to your desk. Damn.
I'm like,
Or when
good
he
God.
said, stop teasing these fans. We all know that deep inside you'll never be cleared. And damn.
I'm like,
I was
this
like-
is
I was
crazy.
like, whoa.
Or when he said, when he's like, oh, so what? You broke your neck. Oh, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck. He came back. He didn't leave his
Kurt Angle
people.
broke his
Kurt
neck.
Angle
and
broke
he
his
came
neck.
back.
Edge broke his neck. He came back, and the fact that they mentioned Edge on television since he is in AEW, and
yeah, that was cool.
And they brought up those three people. You know, yeah, you may have broke your neck, but so what? You didn't come back. I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah, I could hear it in my head though. I can hear Kurt Angle's annoying ass voice in my head when he said Kurt Angle. He's like, "Yeah, I won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck."
yeah,
I can hear it in my head when he said that. I said, "Damn, I can hear what he'd say." But no, that going back to that one though, real quick before I get off, that Sami Zayn segment really cooked, because after what he said about Jey Uso, was like, yeah, go back and be with Roman. And Seth was like, oh yeah, that's okay. I shouldn't have took it out on him. He's family. So what's your excuse, Sammy? Damn. I said, damn.
Yes.
I said, damn. They cooked with that last night.
They did. 25
Yeah,
minutes and
they
nobody
did.
got bored of it. It was so good.
No, that shit was fire. That shit was. But now I wonder what they're going to do with Drew. What he's got to do with it. You know, he still hates Punk, and definitely still hates probably Jay and Sammy. He still got beef with.
I think that if it is McIntyre, I think McIntyre is going to attack those that are friendly with Punk.
Yeah.
Or that he's accusing of being friendly with Punk.
Yeah, but I wonder if they go that shit went hard too, going back to that one thing. Not just Seth and Sammy, but damn Seth and Punk. Seeing Punk scolding him. He said, oh, you've been thinking about me for the last 6 months? Well, I haven't thought about you at all. 6 months ago, you had the world heavyweight title. You had something I want. You don't have nothing at all now. I said,
and I loved how he called him a kid. I was like,
yeah, damn. And that shit killed me though. It was true when Sammy was like, man, he was like, why are you mad? Seth was like, you went and be with Punk and yada yada. He said, no, I didn't want to. Remember, I asked you twice to be in this. I asked you twice for your help, and you were too damn stubborn. I asked you twice. I wanted you to be my partner. It's like, I didn't ask for Punk. That was a wise man's call. I wanted you, and you turned it down. That was your fault.
Just such good stuff last night. Just
that's it.
Hats off to WWE, for telling great stories last night. Just incredible.
Now I'm ready to see what they carry on for Friday, because you could tell the damn Roman Reigns and Solo is far from over, because the damn like they said at the end of the broadcast on War Games, like, yeah, the fight is there, but Solo still leaves with the Ulafala, so it's not over.
No, it's far from over.
And the whole time they were celebrating at the end of War Games, I was looking up at that Titantron. I'm like, who is coming out? I'm waiting on The Rock. I'm waiting on somebody, just like last year. I'm like, it kept you in tune till the ending credits came off the screen to see if anybody comes out.
And even though there was no surprising, entrant afterwards, that's okay.
That's okay. That's a good tease. That's what they want you to do. They want you to keep in tune. You never know. We're going to get The Rock some point in this.
And of course, you best believe that with their match coming up on Saturday night's main event, there's going to be some more fireworks between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Especially
hell yeah, bring it on!
After that intense promo on SmackDown a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that
good stuff.
That was cool. Good. That one too.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get off here, guys.
All right, Kev.
Great job, brother.
Yes, sir. See y'all next week.
Yep. Great job as always by our very own Kevin Rory. Can't wait to have him on next week.
Oh yes, can't wait to have
And
Ezra and Hijacker back with us next week.
yep, and I've pretty much for me, I think that's it.
Yep, I believe it's it also.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and get my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get off here because my battery is literally about to die on me. But great job with having a three-headed monster with us tonight. Um, of course, hate that we couldn't have Ezra and Hijacker with us, but of course they'll be back next week. And all this talk about wrestling has gotten me so excited for this upcoming Saturday night because at the high school it's gonna be WCEW show Deck the Jaws, which we're gonna see former WWE superstar Heath Slater as part of a 6-man tag match. So that's gonna be very exciting. Looking forward to watching that. But as always, great job with the football talk. Looking forward to watching some more football this week, leading into the weekend. And that's about it for me. Steven, you know how to wrap this up, brother. And with that, I say peace out.
Yep, thank you very much with that. And I do want to shout out real quick here in the chat. Ezra here in the chat. What's up, brother? And Ezra also says here in the chat, I agree on moving on with Shanahan, but like you said, these injuries and personal tragedies with the team have been their ultimate downfall. And to my buddy Mike up here in the chat, hi, what's up, brother? Thank you guys for tuning in here tonight. For those that tune in on demand, thank you very much as well. And before we get going off the air tonight, I do want to wish my father a happy birthday. He is celebrating another birthday, and glad I got to spend some time with him today. And we had some pizza today for dinner, so that was good. And he's a great guy, great dude, great father. Spent a lot of time with him going up and down the roads, going to concerts, going to football games, all of that good stuff. Looking forward to making some more memories with you. And love you, dude. You know I don't have to say I love you. You know I love you. Happy birthday to you, Pops. And again, you can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/The Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on Tuesdays at YouTube.com/The Nation Sports Show at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. You can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook.com/Nation's Corner, and where they are live on most Saturdays at YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Be sure to like and share and subscribe across our YouTube channels on sports in as well as professional wrestling. And with that pretty much being said, I believe not only in Joe Henry, I believe that this show is also a wrap. We are done for the day. Thank you to Ezra. Thank you to my one of my good buddies, Mike, tuning in tonight to the show as well. Looking forward to another great show with everybody next week. Looking forward to Ezra and Kevin or Ezra and Hijacker coming back on with us next week. And to Kevin and to Joey, great job as always, fellas. Looking forward to next week. So with that being said, for K-Rock, Kevin Rory, for JT, Joey Dorrington, I've been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. So for that being said, for Ezra Vickery, for Hijacker Mike, K-Rock, Kevin Rory, JT, Joey Dorrington, myself, Stephen Wyand, and everybody out there in sports land, you know the drill next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you next week for another edition of our Nation Sports Show. We will be live at our normal start time at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. So with that being said, enjoy the sports, enjoy the wrestling, enjoy all the good things in life. Go out there and make some memories with your family, with your friends. Go out there and have some fun. Enjoy yourselves and make the best of it. More importantly, treat others the way you want to be treated. Be good to your fellow brothers and sisters. And be kind to one another. This has been another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care of your wild selves, and we'll see you next week. Peace.